Turnout tonight. This is a terrific county, and I'm glad to see so many good Republicans here. And thank you for giving us the chance to come and visit with you. And I've got one question I want to start with tonight, other than the fact that I really like the name of the town that we're living in here. The other thing I want to talk to you about is I want to ask: is there anybody here that would like to see Mr. Perriello be one and done in about 11 months from now? All right, would you like to see somebody stand up and with his right hand, with his left hand on the Bible, with his right hand up, and take the oath of office and actually mean it when he says that he's going to represent the Congress of the United States of America? Yes. Well, that's what I'm here to tell you that I want to do for you in this election coming up. As I said, my name is Ken Boyd, and I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and where I come from, and there's brochures and web pages that I've hopefully handed to everybody as you come out. But I have been involved in politics, and I've been living in the 5th District. I'm not new to the 5th District at all. I've been living here for the last 40 years. I had a little 5-year stint. I went over and lived in Richmond, got outside the district, was still in the state of Virginia. I've lived in Martinsville, Virginia for 5 years, which is where I first came to Virginia back in the early 70s. And spent time there working in the banking business. I spent 23 years as a banker, working for 3 different organizations, ending up in Charlottesville, Virginia, and then left that in 1991 and became a financial planner and started my own company. So I have some experience in corporate America. I have some experience in starting up your own business and running your own business and hiring. Now, about the early 1990s, I was very enthused in politics. And I was really interested in it because I have 4 children, all of them who are going through the public school system in Albemarle County area. And I was very involved in the school system. I've been a PTO president for both middle school and high school with my youngest son. And a fellow by the name of George Allen came along, and he was elected governor of the state of Virginia. And one of his primary things that he tried to do, which established, was the standards of learning. And I just thought, this is a terrific idea. We're going to hold our schools accountable for what they're teaching our kids, and we're going to hold our kids to some standard for what they have to learn when they leave the school system. But being involved in the school system there in Albemarle County, I saw there was great resistance from the county itself to them wanting to do this. From the administrators. So I said, I've got to get involved in this. So in 1995, I was going to run for the school board in our area. I actually met with another person from Albemarle County who was also very interested, another good Republican. He runs as an independent for a school board, but we were looking for conservative leadership. I decided then to back off because he really wanted to, he lost that race, unfortunately, to what I would call a liberal candidate. 4 years later, I ran for that office and won it in 1999 and served from 2000 to 2003. Now, 2003, my youngest son had gone off to college. He was at JMU, and I decided that I wanted to step up to the Board of Supervisors. I've been asked by a number of business leaders in the community who are very concerned. Those of you who don't understand where Albemarle is, they're not exactly on our side of the aisle up there, I can assure you. But I decided to run on the urging of the business community for Board of Supervisors. I ran in 2003 and won that election. It was a very narrow election because this is a very liberal district. It's the Rivanna district in Albemarle County, and it was the first Republican that had won there in a long time from the Board of Supervisors. So I decided to run for 4 years later. I decided to run for another term. Had another opponent come, strong Democrat running against me, was able to beat that person too. Again, it was a narrow margin, but this is a Democrat. Now, what I've been for the last 10 years, 4 years on the Board of Supervisors, and 6 years, 4 years on the school board and 6 years on the Board of Supervisors, is in the minority. I actually, most of that time, we have 6 people on the Board of Supervisors, and I was the only Republican there. There was 4 years during that period that we got another Republican elected, and we had some help, but we still lost an awful lot of votes. There was a lot of votes back in those days that were 5-1. 4-2, and we lost a lot. But we also were able to do some things because we enlisted the help of the people. And that's what you have to do in government. You have to bring people out to meetings. We were able to bring people. We were able to pack our auditorium. That's about 350 to 400 people that we would have come out for meetings and help us. We helped organize Albemarle. Forever Albemarle is a group that organized. There's the ATA group, which is the Truth and Taxation group in Albemarle County. And these are citizens such as yourself that stood up and said, we want to do something about the way this county is going. And we were able to get some things done by that organization. Now, last year, it took me 10 years, but I've been trying to recruit and build a party in Albemarle County. And we actually elected 2 Republicans to the Board of Supervisors in November of 2009. And now we have a majority on that board. And in the first meeting, what I did was pose an agenda. And our agenda said we're going to keep taxes low, we're going to promote business activities, we're going to shrink the size of our government, and we won. I didn't just say it as something I wanted to do. What I said was, this is a motion. I got a second for it. And I knew we had to vote because I did a little counting. You know, somebody told me once the best thing a politician can do is learn how to count. And I knew I had my 4 votes. So we passed that as a resolution, and we were going to see a change, a fundamental change in Albemarle County as a result of that. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is to give you some background information on me, and also to point out the fact that this is what we need in Washington. What we need is somebody who's had some experience, who's been a legislator, who's built coalitions, who's built parties, and that's what I've been doing in Albemarle County for the last 10 years. I'm not new to the district, I'm not new to the county, I'm not new to politics, I'm not new to the party. And I've had the opportunity to kind of to grow and recruit people to bring them in. Now, I'm not a wealthy person, and I'm not somebody who can self-fund my campaign by any means, but I have raised a lot of money over the years. I've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for elections for my campaign and other campaigns. And that's another thing that's important in this race, is the ability to raise money. Because if you don't think, if you take a look at the federal finance reports, you'll see that Mr. Perriello is sitting out there about $600,000 or $700,000 now. It's going to be a ton of money that's pouring into this race. So you need somebody who has some experience raising money, who has some experience legislating, who has some experience bringing coalitions together of conservative leaders and getting rise done. And then the last thing I want to talk about is you need to know that whoever you send to Washington isn't going to go up there and become an insider in the program. They're not going to back off and all of a sudden become a Washington insider and not pay attention to what is going on out in the 5th District. And I've got the record that will prove that I can do that. I've lowered taxes in our county. I've held expenses. We cut $30 million out of the Albemarle County budget last year in operating expenses. We cut $100 million out of the capital improvements, 5-year capital improvement spend. And that was not an easy thing to do. And I can tell you that I was demonized and called names. My colleagues on the board were after me all the time about how it was cutting, taking food out of the mouths of children and all the things that the Democrats throw out there. But I didn't back off because I've got principles that I have. My principles are for smaller government, lower taxes, free enterprise system, individual responsibilities. These are all important ideas that I think that they're principles that I stand behind and I will stand behind as your representative in Congress. I think I'm going to stop at that point. What I want to do is because I want to give you plenty of time to ask me questions about specific issues that may be of interest to you. And I probably won't take my whole 15 minutes. Maybe need more time for questions.
You got about 5 minutes.
I'll reserve the questions. Yes.
Maybe I missed it, but have you said what you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm in the financial services business. I spent 23 years as a banker. And then started a financial services company in 1991, and that's what I do now. I'm an independent financial planner. I do financial planning for businesses and for companies and individuals. And I've also spent, of course, 10 years balancing our budget at our county level. We have about we used to be about $330 million, now it's about $300 million budget in Albemarle County. And one thing that I really feel like we need in Washington is somebody who knows how to balance budgets. And not just create money to try to live off. But I think that's a trait that you need out there.
I wonder what Congressman Perriello would have said with asked, what did you do for a living?
Well, I can tell you, he worked for George Soros, basically, is what he did. He worked for a number of organizations mostly funded by George Soros. I know Tom Perriello, he's from my county, so I know who he is. I know his father and his family. And I can assure you we will make sure he's not back in Congress in 2001. Yes, sir.
What's your position on illegal immigrants?
I think we have to get a handle on our borders. We can't have porous borders all the time. There's a lot of things that we can do out there. There's talk about putting up a fence along the border. There's talk about changing some of the immigration laws. On the other side of the fence, people talk about amnesty, which I'm totally against the amnesty for the illegal areas. I think one of the things that we can do, there is a system in place where you can check the validity of Social Security numbers. And I think we should make that a requirement for hiring people.